Hello guys, I'm Ranjan Dalata. Today I'm going to present you the behind the scene of Kandroid development. So the entire project is made available as a open source, so you can download the same from GitHub. So here's the link where you can navigate and download. So as I mentioned, it's an Android library, so you can see some of the project documentation or description. So here is the supporting material. So the list of features that's being implemented as part of the library. The core Android library, the core Android HTTP library is the OK HTTP. So that is like in a base library for communicating with the Android REST API. So here are some of the basic setup. So you'll have to configure the API key, secret key, and once you obtain the domain access token and also the user access token, you can key in all this information as part of your project development. And there are some other configurations where, let us say, you need to configure a device ID or a phone number for sending SMS. So you have an option for all these things. Here are the list of unit test goes at high level, like setting up of unit test with all the API keys, phone number, domain access, tokens, etc. So I'll walk you through the code that I've developed as part of the Kandroid project. So here is the documentation on how to consume Kandroid library. So since it's coded as a library as part of Android Studio, so you'll see the details on how one can easily import and consume the library. So now let us take a look into the code. So here I have created a Candy IO okay, the Kandroid library. So I will just walk you through the list of entities and then the entire implementation. So as part of fetching contact info or accessing the user domain details or sending SMS or group info, for all these aspects, we need a um, we need an entity. So that's a reason why it's being segregated as the entities. So the entities are nothing but a class having properties and methods. So here we have a base access token, kind of helper for processing the access token. So we do have a domain account and user access token for all for processing the response. So it acts as a base class. So I will walk you through how to fetch the Candy domain access token. So we are using the Candy base endpoint with the 1.2 version, and here's the endpoint we are constructing with domain user access token. So this is something we are building so that we can get the domain user access token. So here is the implementation on how to fetch the domain user details. So all we are doing is creating an instance of OK HTTP, then building an endpoint, making a request, and then getting a response. So the entire JSON response, what we are getting from as part of the Candy REST API, is being processed. So here you can see how we are getting a strongly typed entity from the JSON. So let us take a look into the more interesting aspects of the library for sending SMS or sending code and verifying the SMS code. So here you can see the Candy SMS class responsible for handling the sending of SMS. So it's based on the device ID from and to phone numbers and a specific text what we are intending to send. So we'll be building the SMS API URL, and the build SMS JSON objects is responsible for constructing a JSON object as part of the API request. So all we need is to build a JSON object with destination, source, and message to send. Here you can see once once an instance of HTTP OK HTTP is being created, then we are building a request body. We are doing a post request and the response. So whatever response is being obtained as part of the API is being sent to the caller. So the SMS verification. So this is a code for sending SMS verification code based on phone number and country. So it's similar to sending SMS, but the only thing is so building of SMS endpoint and specific request parameter varies. So here is the code for validating SMS code based on the specific configured API URL. So as I mentioned in the previous tutorial about splitter configuration, it's mainly responsible for getting all the configuration details about ICE servers so that we can use it as part of WebRTC call. So these things can be achieved with the help of this splitter configuration class. There are some other implementation like getting the user account access token or getting the user address book context. So this is basically responsible for managing the entire the Candy user address book context. So you can add or delete contacts or fetch all user contacts. So this is the implementation about Candy user device fetching all the user device messages. It's a simple HTTP Candy HTTP request call. Once we get a response as a JSON array, then we will be converting back to basically deserializing all the messages to and sending back to the caller. So this is all about the Candy library. As a consumer, you can see one of so the consumer application is responsible for consuming the Kandroid library and making use of it. So here are some of the unit tests where you can see first we are setting up of all the access key, the API access key, secret key, and all of this information. So here are some of the unit tests where you can see how we are performing, like sending SMS or SMS code or verification code. So I will just try to execute one of these unit tests where you can see fetch on how we can fetch all the Candy user contacts. So it takes a while to fetch all contacts since we are running on debug mode. So let us wait until we see a debugger endpoint. So until then, you can see some of the other unit tests like getting user account access token, spreader configuration, all of this information. So it's trying to connect to the target VM. Yeah. So I'm just hitting F8, um, just making a request call to fetch all user contacts. So it's still running, it's trying to execute. Let us wait for a while. Yeah. So here you can see in the list of 4 user contacts. It's retrieved as part of the Candy REST API calls. So you can exercise all of these endpoints and take benefit of this library. Thank you guys for your time.